This has to be one of the most beautiful hikes I think I've ever done. So today I did have a full video planned, but you know what? We're gonna go freestyle. Nice. And the reason that I'm doing that is because apparently there's a storm coming through on the day that I've decided to do a 12-mile walk. But I reckon today's walk has got enough interesting stuff along the way that I really don't need to do any scripting. So let's finish my cuppa, have some breakfast, and then head out to see what today brings.
The ambient section, so that you know it's the morning. I clambered out of the van as graceful as a drunken celebrity getting out of their car after a big night out, donned my minion bag, locked the van and set off on my merry way, hoping that the weather would hold off until at least halfway through my walk. Autumn is definitely here now. The leaves have turned and the air is chilly. But I'd much rather walk in these conditions than the warmer ones of summer. It's a good job really, as now I have a little more time with wedding season coming to an end for me. This is the time of year when I do most of my hikes. I'm also looking forward to the snow. Said nobody.
So I'm a tad apprehensive about this walk. It's the longest I've walked in a very long time. So it's always in my head, am I going to make it? Am I going to turn round? I don't know.
Recently I started training for the Rob Burrows Marathon next May, and a recurring injury reared its head, so I've been off the running and major hiking for a while. But now I have a good strength training programme in place, and touch wood, my knee has been fine. But that's enough about me, let's talk about the history of the place that I'm walking.
Now, it would be remiss of me not to mention the history and significance of the wall that I'm following on most of my journey today. Now, stepping back in time, my mate Dave built a wall in his garden. That was to stop the neighbours from encroaching onto his driveway as they parked up. Some chap called Hadrian decided to build a wall all the way from the east of England down to the west of England.
Constructed in 122 AD, and despite popular belief, Hadrian's Wall wasn't actually built to keep out the Scottish, as Scotland or England, as we know it, didn't even exist. It was built by the Romans to control tribes from the north of Roman Britain, to separate the Romans from the barbarians, a border control if you like, allowing the regulation of trade and immigration and preventing quick cattle raids. I said cattle raids, not raves. That would be a completely different thing.
Even Hadrian used cement, like my mate Dave. And next on today's route, a couple of miles ahead, are some pretty recent, not so good history.
This route was way prettier than I was expecting. It was also way hillier than I was expecting too. The ups and downs were savage at times, but with every up came another stunning view to either photograph or admire while having a rest. It wasn't long before I arrived at my next destination of the day. I just wished the view was as it was not so long ago. Thank you so much to my good friend Paula Beaumont Adventures, who you've seen on the channel before, for taking this image and letting me use it in this video. I'll pop a link in the description to where you can view all of her images, and maybe, just maybe, make a little purchase while you're there.
I don't get the mindset of the person who wanted to chop it down. What was going through their head to make them go, do you know what, today or tonight I'm going to take my chainsaw and I'm going to go chop a really old tree down. There's not many things in life that do my head in, but that's one of them.
Let's lighten the mood again, shall we? After sifting through loads of music to fit this next segment, I landed on this one. It doesn't work, but let's use it anyway. Welcome to The Walk Is Right, where I spent most of my day putting the camera down and walking away from it, hoping that it won't get blown over and smash. Then, all the distance that I've covered, I walk back again to pick my camera up, film some views, and then walk back over the bit that I've already done, all for your entertainment. So with that random piece over, let's get back to the proper video.
You know me, I'm a massive advocate of talking to strangers. As an adult, obviously, if you're a child watching this, don't talk to strangers.
Say no to strangers.
But yeah, as an adult, it's great because you get to find out about their story. And I was speaking to a chap at, oh, there we go, we closed, at Sycamore Gap. And he's flown all the way over from Washington just to come and visit this beautiful country. So it's really nice to speak to strangers. I got to find out lots about him. He said, you know, he's retired now and his schedules were so hectic. He said, but now everything is just, well, I'll do this today. I'll spend all day hiking or looking at a thing. He had a camera, so we were taking photographs. And he's just, what is that noise? It's the mooiest moo I've ever heard in my life. Why? I don't get these. Just make them all standard. Make them all the same. I know.
So after that little gate incident, I carried on past what can only be described as the mooiest cows I've ever heard. Heard. Do you get it? I carried on my route towards the Roman fort, but was then distracted by the amazing views again.
This area is super photogenic. Today, because the weatherman said the weather was going to be horrible, I've not brought the little clip that I can hold my camera on, so I'm having to stop, put my bag down, get the camera out, faff around for 5-10 minutes. And that's what's put me off taking photographs in the past. However, because this place is so photogenic, I've not minded putting my bag down, getting my camera out, taking the photograph, and then putting it away and faffing. Gives me 5 minutes to just go, relax, and take some photographs. And if I've got any nice ones, I shall show you them now.
I've said this a million times, but photography is subjective, and what one person thinks is nice, another person might not. But here's a photo I took that I quite like. Simple, good lighting, and it shows off the beauty of the surroundings that I'm in.
This has to be one of the most beautiful hikes I think I've ever done. It's stunning. Highly recommend. Nice. Lick of paint, that'll be all right, that. Moving next week. Nice. So according to my GPS, I've made it to the halfway point and the weather's slightly changing now. Although the wind is going that way and I can see that it's absolutely hoying it down over there. For people who don't understand Yorkshire, hoying it down means raining. I think the weather is on the turn. It has been beautiful up to this point, and it did say it was going to start raining around 1ish. Hopefully it stops, no idea. The legs are still okay. I've just stopped for a bit of a sit down so I can have a snack before we get to this Roman fort that I've heard lots of good things about. And then I think what I might do on the way back, it'd still be the same distance, just depending on what the weather does, I might take the road back just to make it a little bit more straightforward.
Having finished a healthy snack that consisted of a handful of wine gums and 2 fun-sized Snickers bars, I continued to the Roman fort. Now when I got there, I was surprised that there wasn't an easier way in. So having hopped over a gate at the top of the hill to film these ruins for you, it then dawned on me that I may have entered this site without paying. I found a ranger at the fort and owned up to my mistake, and we quickly figured out that with it being a National Trust site that I wouldn't have had to pay as I'm already a member. Do bear that in mind if you're planning on walking this route. It's £10 entry per person if you're not a National Trust member.
That fort is awesome. When I first got there, I was a little bit underwhelmed considering the amount of distance that I'd walked to get there. And I thought, I just saw a couple of crumbly old stone walls. But then the further you go in, actually the more impressive it is. There's loads of information, loads of plaques out. You can even do like a guided tour, go into the museum, get a ticket. And it's English heritage. Well, the actual buildings, or what's left of the buildings, are managed by English Heritage. And the land, sorry, I just need to look at this cattle grid. And the land is owned by National Trust. So yeah, Beautiful setting, beautiful place. Absolutely love it. And I think I'm going to walk back via the road. I am totally and utterly off map now. I'm not even following my GPS. All it's doing is recording my route.
Like with all my walks I do on the channel, I'll pop a link to this walk in the description below. The planned route does follow an off-road path back, so you don't have to walk back via the road if you decide to do this walk. I just wanted to get back before the promised rain came. I was then distracted by the second most likely thing to distract me on a walk, and that was this pub.
I am coming back here for next week's video, but I thought I can't pass it and not go in for a pint. So yeah, that's what I'm doing now. Rest the legs for 5 minutes and then a 2-mile hike back, which shouldn't be too bad to be fair, because on the road it's quite flat, it's lovely. So I'm going to sit here, enjoy my pint, and yeah, it's busy in there, which is why I'm sat in the conservatory out of the way, because I feel dead embarrassed. Okay, see you, bye.
After my lovely pint at the pub, I headed back to the campsite to rest the legs and figure out what my plans were for the rest of the evening.
That was a walk and a half. I actually thought it would be more of like a fieldy kind of walk, but following Hadrian's Wall, you're kind of up and down. There's loads and loads of kind of bits where you drop down, and any elevation gain you've made, you have to go back up again and go back down. So yeah, way hillier than I thought. In fact, about 1,600 feet of climbing in total throughout the day, which was, yeah, a lot more than I thought it were going to be. But a great walk. I burnt 2,500 calories, which is about 5 pints. So I'm happy with that. I think the weather's lovely, so I didn't think I was going to be having a fire pit tonight. So yeah, we'll get that going, which is ace. Have a couple of beers, chilling around. I think what I'm going to do now is have a biscuit and a coffee and get warm, get changed, maybe get a shower, and decide what's happening tomorrow, depending what the weather's doing. And that'll be next week's video for you. You don't need to worry about that. But yeah, I think it's time to just get sorted, have a coffee and chill. Nah.